for some reason. Not really sure what's happening up there in Canada at the moment, so we might be in a situation where Vitor has to play. And that's an important thing that Payne needs from him, is to show up in a big moment and show up against one of the winningest King of the Hill players. And talking about a very important stat, one of the very few players in the 6 sweep club throughout his career, Javi14.
Yeah, 6 sweeps. Obviously, the sweeps you're seeing right now on the screen are just this season. And, you know, just a fun little note here, the arena has changed because it is the home team's decision, I believe, to what arena they want to play in. Most traditionally, we always just end up in the Legendary, but Vitor wanted to play on the home court.
Balloon to the right-hand side, bomb tower in response. Wall breakers opposite direction for Vitor.
Yeah, Ice Wizard doesn't turn that direction, so going to have to use a NATO here to activate King. Doesn't work because of that bomb going off. Not the end of the world there for Vitor. He would have loved to have the King Tower activation, though.
Going to have to put some response out, and arrows for maybe looking at the wrong thing there out of Javi. Cannon Cart not going to get there courtesy of the Valkyrie, and you see that's what he was expecting, was the Goblins rather than the Valk.
Yep, exactly, and I'm really glad that he played those right afterwards so we could see exactly what Javi was looking for. Obviously, he wasn't looking for the wall breakers, looking for skeletons, goblins, some cheap ground unit, and really well played there by Vitor by not feeding into what Javi was expecting.
And a freeze there to hold things on, so Balloon, Cannon Cart, freeze, arrows for Javi14, and you know, this looks not dissimilar to that bowler deck, although one key difference and a nice King Tower activation there for Vitor.
Yeah, really nice King Tower activation. Javi tips his hat to his opponent. Kind of an ugly deck, honestly, on paper when you look at Javi's there, but I could see how this could be a very dominant one as well. You think about the tankage that this deck has in the high single target DPS. You talk about the 6-man plus Cannon Cart, and of course, that Hunter. That's really all you need when you want to have a conversation about high DPS. The Hunter is a phenomenal card for doing just that. And of course, that freeze, you saw Javi use it effectively on defense, which is a really important thing to do if you're going to decide to pull the trigger on a defensive freeze.
Well, you talk about Loon Freeze, and it's been the bowler Loon Freeze mostly throughout this event, but oh, and look at that, NATO Rocket to take care of the Baby Dragon and the Cannon Cart, but that's going to leave a huge elixir advantage for Javi. We'll see if he can capitalize. He might just eat these wall breakers on the right. No, Fisherman comes out.
Good play there by Vitor. He knew he was down elixir. The only thing he could do was make his opponent make a negative trade. So what did he do? He sends in naked wall breakers to send himself down to 0, and that helps slow Javi down. Because, Rich, if he just sat back and waited and didn't send in those wall breakers, you know exactly what Javi would have done in the left-hand lane, and he would have just piled it on and hoped to get in a good freeze.
Well, he knows that wall breakers are a negative trade every time. There is no 2 elixir solution to the wall breakers. So we'll see if Vitor can take advantage of that as time goes on. I was going to say the big difference in this deck, Andrew, is the recruits rather than the bowler, and maybe that's because of how much we've seen bowler struggle against Graveyard this weekend.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's maybe a better choice here, or it would have been a better choice here had his opponent not had so much splash damage. Valkyrie, Bomb Tower, Rocket, Ice Wizard, NATO, all of those things making it a lot more difficult for Javi than he'd like.
Still, Javi in the lead and adding to it now with dual lane pressure, minor wall breakers to the right-hand side. Fisherman not going to help, but again, the arrows will be the big equalizer for Javi in this one.
1608, 1604 on Vitor's 2 towers, 2113 on Javi's top left, lower one at 1921. A pretty strong lead here and a lot of game control.
Yeah, very curious to see if Vitor can turn up the heat. Of course, keep in mind this is a Rocket deck, so Rocket Cycle could do a lot of work in the later moments if Javi isn't far enough ahead.
Yeah, that's a good point you make. I'll be curious to see if we do end up seeing that famous, you know, minor Rocket play that will come in very late game a lot of times to see if they can pick up their opponent's Hunter or something in that situation, which is why you might start to see Javi defend the minor more regularly with the Cannon Cart.
Here we go, 6-man 4-2 split. Javi making Vitor play to the right while he knows he can pressure on the left.
Yep, and he's doing a good job of it. Look at that freeze coming in, something taking for that bomb or balloon. However, NATO comes in for Vitor.
Hunter does its job, and now 15:37 remains on the right-hand side, 15 seconds left. Vitor has Rocket, Miner, NATO, Javi has just arrows to get direct tower damage along with a freeze. So there goes in the rocket. Arrows trying to make enough room. The freeze comes in as well.
Wow.
And Javi will take game number 1 of King of the Hill.
And you see Vitor, he knows how close he got. He made the correct decision in going in with that rocket, getting tower damage. But again, you see the look on his